Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jake, the scary story guy. Ooh. And today we're talking about Annabelle, a movie which viewers spent $257 million watching, which strikes me as one of the great moral catastrophes of our time. Obligatory spoiler warning, although I'm not going to come anywhere near actually recommending that you watch this movie, and if you've already seen it, I can't imagine why you're still seeking out Annabelle-related content, so I'm not really even sure who this video's for, but whatever. Okay, so in the opening scene of The Conjuring, we see Ed and Lorraine Warren talking with some very frightened people about a possessed doll named Annabelle. This movie is basically an origin story for that doll. A deeply underwhelming origin story. It's been a long time since I was less whelmed. And because of that, this video is going to be part movie review, part group therapy session. We talk so we can heal. I knew I was going to hate Annabelle from the first moment when this text appeared on screen. Let's break this down. Since the beginning of civilization, dolls have been beloved by children, cherished by collectors, and used in religious rites as conduits for good and evil. First of all, no Oxford comma, so go to hell. Next, and I hope I'm not getting too pedantic here, but since the beginning of civilization sounds like overstating the claim a little bit, no? I mean, have we really traced dolls used for all three of these purposes back to the literal beginnings of civilization? Why not just for thousands of years? This reads like it was written by a college freshman, trying and failing to sound like an academic. But beyond that, this might be the most pointless text opening in the history of film. I mean, who is this for? Who doesn't know this? Is there any conceivable viewer who will be surprised that dolls are sometimes played with? This came on the screen and I thought there was going to be more, like a second page of text, but no, this was it. Here's a fact. And then when you watch the movie, this doesn't have that much of a connection to the story, even. Like, yes, there's a doll, but no children play with it. I got the sense that it was used for decoration more than collection, and it is a conduit for evil, but that doesn't come about through a religious ritual. A demon just sort of latches onto it. So at the end of the day, what we're left with is text on screen for the sake of text on screen, which is bullshit. So Annabelle centers on a young married couple, John and Mia. They're expecting their first child, and inexplicably, they have made the decision to decorate their unborn infant's bedroom with horrifying dolls. And as they're erecting this psychological torture chamber for their child, they purchase a coup de grace, if you will, for this hell room. Another doll, which is approximately the size of a 9-year-old. And it looks like this. And already you have stretched your viewer's credulity past its breaking point. There are perhaps half a dozen people on the planet who would allow this figurine within a block of their home. Apparently the real Annabelle doll that Ed and Lorraine Warren investigated was just a Raggedy Ann doll, and I guess when they made this movie they decided that wouldn't be scary enough to compensate for their contemptible script. So they overcorrect to just a staggering degree by creating this doll that pretty clearly should not even be permitted to exist, much less be purchased and gifted to a newborn. And what follows is an hour and a half of more unforgivably stupid shit. Late one night, a grisly murder takes place in the house next door. And it's all kinds of obvious that something bad has happened. John and Mia are awoken by this horrified scream. Blood is visibly splattered on their neighbor's windows. There's a big flashing neon sign in the yard that says, "Do not enter, ritual murder taking place." And so John's like, oh, I'll just go over and check on things. His wife is like, maybe we should call the police. And he's like, no, the blood and the screams, probably nothing. I'll just go check it out real quick and leave our front door wide f***ing open. So the murderers see the open door and they're like, hey, an open door. So they go inside, attack Mia, and end up getting shot dead by the police. And apparently one of the murderers' names is Annabelle. And as she dies, she's holding the hell doll, and she gets a bunch of her blood on it. So naturally, they decide to keep it. So what you have to accept is that not only do these people own a doll that looks like this, but they own a doll that looks like this, and that was also being held by a murderous cult lady as she died after attacking them in their own home. And look, I'll forgive a certain amount of stretch in the plot of my horror films. It's the nature of the genre. Things tend to get a bit weird. But this movie is so abominably weak, and it's not even because a demon possessing a doll is unrealistic. It's because these people possessing this doll is unrealistic. I mean, who are these people? Nobody behaves like this. At one point, I thought they were coming back to their senses, because Mia's like, you know, on second thought, this doll creeps me out. So she gets rid of it. She throws it away. And then they move houses. And then the doll comes back of its own accord, just shows up like on their porch. And she's like, oh, I guess this is a sign that we're meant to keep it. And then she just puts it right back up on the wall of her daughter's puppet cemetery. Incredibly, Alfre Woodard consented to appear in this movie, which is basically the film equivalent of Gronk playing Pop Warner. The movie ends with her sacrificing herself to the doll demon in what's surely a finalist for most dipshit ending of the decade. I'm not sure why I'm even telling you this, other than to say it's weird that she's in this movie, because she gets nominated for more acting awards in a week than the rest of this cast will ever sniff in their collective lifespans. Let's talk about this cast for a second, too, because they're not good. The main couple is played by Annabelle Wallis, who I'm sure is a lovely woman, but let's just address the elephant in the room here. She got the part because her name's fucking Annabelle. And the other actor is a gentleman named Ward Horton, who, fun fact, was not actually born from a womb. Believe it or not, Ward Horton was built in a factory that makes generic 1960s movie husbands. I actually don't know how much of the blame for this atrocity I can pin on the acting, though, because at a certain point you've got a script in your hand, and there's only so much you can do. So you know what, Miss Wallis? Ward Horton? I take it back. If you really wanted to take it back, why wouldn't you just leave it out of the video? Fair question, Ward Horton. Guys, I'm gonna give Annabelle 1 star out of 5, and here's the crazy thing. The universe actually wanted me to like this movie. I'm not making this up. I'm watching the movie right here in this seat with all the lights off except this thin strip of LEDs on the desk. Like this. And for those of you who haven't seen the movie, first of all, fantastic choice. And second of all, about 90% of this movie is just random appliances turning on when they're not supposed to. And in the middle of one of those scenes, my lamp, this lamp, right here, just turned on by itself and started cycling through colors. So I turn it off, and 5 minutes later, it happens again. Never happened before or since those 5 minutes in the movie. It was nuts. Anyway, the movie still sucked. Alright guys, stay tuned for my reviews of the rest of the Conjuring cinematic universe, including 2 more Annabelle movies. And as always, if you'd like to read my original scary stories, I'll put the links in the description. Thank you for watching my video, and here's hoping you survive to see the next one.